18th Gourmet, this is the thing it must be.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the hungry ass nerd and Toriko nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome, the appetite-inducing, the hunger-creating tale of Toriko. I almost said One Piece there. So clearly you can see what I have on the brain most of the time. But no, I'm just used to saying it because I've done that for 200 plus videos now. So, but here we are for another chapter of Toriko. So hopefully that's what it said in the description too, and I haven't gone completely batshit crazy, right? But the last chapter, of course, saw us. We're getting close to, it looks like, wrapping up the puffer whale story arc, and the last chapter, of course, put us at the beginning of volume 3 over here, and we were ultimately, it was a very long review because I was trying to get very descriptive. I wasn't even intentionally doing it. I just got very descriptive with what they were describing as far as removing this poison sac, and then of course just the whole finally eating the tuna or the puffer whale and everything else was just awesome. The way it was described. But the end of it, the chapter left off though with this creature, this creature from the Black Lagoon coming up out of the water. And it's actually kind of funny because this chapter is entitled Thing, which I didn't know at the time, and I believe that's what I called it in the last chapter. But it just sort of has like an anteater's like face, like this long, thin-looking face, and this sort of just shaggy, like Yeti-like body. It came up out of the water, and that was how the chapter ended. And you were thinking, "Oh God, this is not going to be good." So that's where things left off. That's right where things pick up, and we actually get this chapter flew by really quick, and I think it was because of the way the art was portrayed. They were it was really trying to pronounce and show certain things visually, and there was not a lot of words that needed to be said, so there wasn't a ton that happened, but it was really kind of cool how the things happened. So the first couple of pages, the first page, you see a couple of panels of in the actual cavern lagoon, you presume, and because it's the only water that's nearby, and you see a couple of just torn up fish, some creatures, underwater creatures, different types of fish. Then you go and you actually see a double page spread, and you see the aftermath and the destruction of this thing, this beast that came out of the lagoon. And mind you, too, that the beast is holding a net sack full of puffer whales, right? But you see the destructive nature of everything because you see all these different types of fish and underwater wildlife, obviously, just ripped apart, and you're thinking, my God, this thing is going to be pretty difficult to deal with. So it winds up, going back and then showing the actual creature itself, and the creature looks over and sees, Komatsu, Coco, and Toriko, and looks like it just keeps on walking. Doesn't seem to bother anybody, or takes a couple more steps at least. Doesn't make any type of movement towards them. Well, Coco goes and he looks at it. It's really kind of cool because there's like one page where it just shows the thing with the anteater face just kind of looking all grim at them, I guess you would say. And then the next page is just like, it's Coco's face, and he's just like, and then there's Toriko's face, and he's just like, Coco's like, so, because Toriko's like, oh, Jesus, Coco's freaked out, right? Coco goes batshit crazy, and all of a sudden, like, his face starts turning black and everything like that, and then Toriko's like, oh, Komatsu, get behind me, this is going to be bad, this guy's bad news, and he's like, Coco, for whatever reason or other, Coco's gone toxic, right? So Coco is just completely secreting, like, the most evil, toxic, poisonous aura that he possibly can around him, probably for that intimidation factor, but ultimately because he probably thinks that he knows something about this, that it's not good, it's not going to be a good fight. So then Toriko goes and he just kind of goes, just kind of muscles up, man. And he goes and uses whatever magical Hulk juice he has inside of him, because all of a sudden Toriko's just like, looks like a ripped, like a wrestler, like a WWE wrestler, like he's been hitting the steroids, the weights, and then he got all oiled up and shit before he came out and got a good pump, and then injected some roids in under his nuts. And to hide the marks and everything like that. At least that's what I've heard that they do. So, but he all hulks up and everything. And it's funny because this goes over the course of a few pages, and then this anteater thing or whatever just kind of like looks at them And he just kind of keeps walking, and he's walking towards the blackened part of the cavern, where there's the absence of light down there. And he's just kind of shuffling away. And they show this over the course of a couple pages. And it's like nerve-wracking because you're thinking like this thing's going to turn and like fire something out of it or, whatever, right? It's something crazy is going to happen. And you've got Toriko and Coco that are just, they're ready for battle, man. They're, Thundercats, they're ready to go. And and this thing goes and just walks away. And over a series of panels, we see it walk further and further away, and doesn't even really care to give them much of a second glance after he, I guess this thing didn't deem them as a threat or what have you. So then, after the thing leaves, and we presume it's now a couple minutes later, Coco goes and just collapses to his knees, and he's like, "Oh, thank God," And Toriko's like, "What was the deal with that? What do you, what the hell?" And Coco goes, I've never sensed an aura like that before, And then they go and they show a picture of this creature and just this sort of weird, gnarly, nasty type aura that's around it. And the aura thing is actually really cool because it reminds me of a Stephen King book that I read years and years ago. And, God, I forget the name of it now. But it was all about the different auras that people generate. If somebody is like a smoker and they have like emphysema or lung cancer or just bad health, the aura they emanate, if you could see it, would be like a dark one, like a gray or a black aura. Somebody that's close to death, somebody that's happy and vibrant and always looks at the positive side of things. It'd be like a bright yellow or orangey type aura. And so it's really kind of cool because to me, it's a very similar thing. That's what I describe, but that's what I compare it to anyway. So, but anyway, so this big battle to be didn't even happen, at least not now. And they go and they see the tracks come up out of the water, and they're like just these weird sort of like three-toed, like almost like Big Bird like tracks from Sesame Street. And but obviously some kind of creature. It's not human. And Toriko says, and he's like, "What the hell, man? These tracks are just coming right up here. We didn't see any of these tracks anywhere in here. Did that mean that it came in from the ocean side? That means it would have had to swim 1,000 meters down, which is, over a half a mile, okay, to then go and come back up the couple hundred miles to get into the cavern." He's like, "Is that even possible? Is that even possible for, for a human or something along those lines?" And Coco says, "It wasn't human, wasn't that wasn't alive," is what he says. So that's all we really know about this particular beast. And then the chapter goes and wraps up shortly after that. We go and we see this beast walk outside, and if you remember, Knocking Master Jiro had knocked out some of those like assassins and thugs, the thieves that were basically waiting for gourmet hunters to come out with puffer whales so they could rob them. And I don't know if they ever woke up because I know Grandmaster Jiro, Knocking Master Jiro, had said they'll only be out for 5 minutes, but you just see all these bodies, and you presume that either they were awake or they had become awake, and this thing just ripped them apart, or they were just laying there knocked out, and this thing still chose to rip them apart for whatever reason or another, just like all the death and destruction that you saw in the lagoon from the various fish that were in there, because these people are just like, they look like they were just kind of stomped on. There's just blood spurting out of them everywhere, and it looks like a bunch of just mangled bodies, So then we go and we see somebody going sitting up on this this ridge, it's, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 feet up, and introduces himself as the Gourmet Police and pulls out some kind of badge and says, "Hold it right there, I'm the Gourmet Police." And that's how the chapter ends, So I don't know what the deal is with this beast. If it's something that scared the shit out of Coco and got Toriko to go and just kind of hulk and man up like that, it's obviously something that's a big threat, or maybe it was just because it was an unknown aura, like Coco said. He had never felt or seen an aura like that before, that, maybe that's why it scared him. But really, there is not a whole lot explained in there. And, and certainly leaves you, thirsting for more. So that leads to my chapter question. And I don't want you to get too in-depth with anything if it happens to be big spoiler territory. But I just want to know what your thoughts are on this creature, this creature from the Black Lagoon. And then if you can tell me, without spoiling things too much, is this something that we see and kind of gets wrapped up, or that we see again very soon? Or is this something that, just better left unsaid, Jim, because it's going to be a while before you encounter it again? Is this one of those, like, those plot lines that's left dangling? Or is this something that's directly leading into where we go in the next chapters? So that's my question, because obviously I don't read ahead. I do these, and, it's all just kind of natural, knee-jerk reactions. But leave your answer, if you can, to that question or those questions in the comments down below. Certainly always appreciate those. And then, of course, hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
I just like to say I don't really care about subscribing or watching anything. I just want to eat some puffer whale.